this is my first time talking NBA since I left on last Friday for vacation, so it's been almost a full week since we've had a basketball discussion, and I'd like to go through and talk about some players, some teams, just some stuff going on. First thing we have to talk about, bad news coming out of Detroit. Cade Cunningham is going to be out for an extended period of time with a collapsed lung. Yeah, this is really bad news for the Detroit Pistons. I hate to say this. He is among the leaders in the MVP race. Left Tuesday's game against the Wizards with what was initially described as back spasms. He appeared to suffer the injury when he dove for a loose ball and collided into Wizards guard Trey Johnson with 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Cunningham appeared to be laboring until he checked out a minute and 4 seconds later. Cade Cunningham, only 24 years old. Appeared in 61 games this year, which puts him just short of the 65-game threshold. If he misses the rest of the season, he will not be obviously considered for MVP. But obviously, none of that really matters. Really, the biggest thing is making sure Cade is healthy. Not even just come playoff time, but just in general. Rooting for Cade's health. I saw this morning. I was like, oh, that's the scariest thing to hear for an NBA player. Collapsed lungs are never good signs. So, being 24 years old, I really hope Cade recovers well from this. I really hope that, the Pistons can keep themselves afloat in the midst of his injury. I don't know how much confidence I have in this Detroit Pistons team to keep themselves afloat. They traded Jaden Ivey at the deadline. Now they have Dennis Jenkins starting at the 1, Duncan Robinson, Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. If you look at this lineup, this is maybe a play-in team roster without Cade Cunningham. So with Cade Cunningham, they become the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Kind of crazy, but biggest news coming out of the day out of Detroit is that. And also, speaking of injuries, Anthony Edwards is going to miss a little bit of time with knee soreness. The Timberwolves announced the timetable for a reevaluation after disclosing Tuesday that an MRI conducted revealed inflammation in Edwards' right knee. The team announced that further updates on his progress will be provided when available. We've been here before, Chris Finch said, which is kind of cool. I think it's incredible when you think about Anthony Edwards playing almost 95% of the games he's been available to play. That's almost unheard of. But this year we've been without him more than in the past. Just got to regroup. We've got to worry about playing better basketball all the way around, regardless of who's out there. And I think we don't need one person to try and step in and fill the scoring. It's just better if it's dispersed throughout the lineup. Finch said the decision to sit Edwards was well above my pay grade, adding that the decision was based on the medical staff, team doctors, talking to the people, yada yada. So, two of the biggest stars in runnings for MVP this season, Anthony Edwards and Cade Cunningham, both going to be missing a little bit of time heading into the last stretch, really, before the playoffs. Let's see, we have about, 12 to 14 more games for most teams heading into the playoffs. There are a couple teams, though, and moments that we have to talk about over the past couple weeks. For example, I'd love to talk about the Boston Celtics. They have been dominant since Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have come back. You can see all the wins compared to their losses. Tatum has looked really solid since coming back. 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. One of my favorite things about Jason Tatum coming back from his injury is he's actually shooting about the lowest three-point percentage he's actually ever shot before. 30.5% on 9.8 attempts. He fit right back into the Missoula ball kind of scheme where it's a lot of chucking up threes, a lot of step backs, a lot of catch and shoots. But it's so impressive to see a guy like Jason Tatum coming off the injury. He just came off the Achilles tear. I know he's not shooting the ball well, 41% from the field, 30% from three is really bad splits. But the impact that he has on the basketball court from his playmaking, his ability to move within the offense as a bigger forward, his defensive versatility next to Nemez Queta and Nikola Vucevic. Sorry, not Vucevic. Luka Garza has been playing their backup center minutes because Vucevic has been hurt. But shout out to guys Baylor Shireman, Peyton Pritchard, Hugo Gonzalez, Ron Harper Jr. The depth that this team has it shouldn't be as good of depth as on paper. It doesn't look like great depth. When you watch the games, these guys fit perfectly. Missoula ball is working really, really well. This is my favorites in the Eastern Conference right now. I just think that when you get to a 7-game series, I don't see anyone being able to stop Tatum and Brown from doing what they want for a full 7 games. And man, I love what Boston has built over the past couple of years. They kept their culture. A lot of people went into this year thinking Tatum was going to be held out for the season. And if Tatum came back and you said that he was shooting the ball really bad, you'd think the Celtics were a bad team. But no, they continue to win. 69 games in, they are exactly doubling their loss, 46-23 record. They dominated my Warriors yesterday. Now, my Warriors didn't have anyone playing, but even then, dominated the Warriors, dominated the Suns, dominated the Wizards. They did lose to the Thunder in that close game. That was my NBA Finals preview, so it didn't surprise me to see the Thunder close that out. But they beat the Cavs, they beat the Bucks, they beat the Sixers, they beat the Lakers. Like, they're beating up on the teams they're supposed to be, and I'm so impressed with what Boston has done over the past couple weeks. We got to talk about the Knicks a little bit because Mikal Bridges is really bad. He's really, really struggling. If you guys look over here, you're going to see Mikal Bridges' game log points total. He hasn't scored 11 plus points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games. And it's not like he's not shooting. 0 for 6, 3 for 8, 2 for 9, 3 for 10, 4 for 12, 6 for 17, 6 for 17. Just really bad. It's really making me not believe in the Knicks more and more because you guys already know I have problems with their top 2 guys in Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns come playoff time. And I said that their biggest thing that could happen is, their wing depth continues to be the reason they win between Josh Hart, Bridges, OG, Jordan Clarkson, Landry Shamet. But no, that's not even becoming the case because Mikal Bridges is really struggling heading into this season. And I think to the deadline, this would have been the Knicks' best time to have a trade package ready at the trade deadline for a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. But they traded 6 first-round picks, 5 unprotected, and 1 pick swap to the Brooklyn Nets for Mikal Bridges a year and a half ago. And Mikal Bridges is 14-4-4. I don't think that is worth anywhere near 6 first-round picks, and I just cannot believe. I still don't believe in the Knicks, and now I'm finding more reasons to not believe in them even more. One little thing to say about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Shout out to Max Strus. Came back from I forgot he existed. He was out for so long with that injury he got before the season. He's only played 2 games. He's looked really good, and he is such a fit with James Harden. Like, I didn't even think about him when they made this James Harden trade, but he is such a good corner catch and shoot scorer guy, and he's versatile defensively. He can handle the ball a little bit. He's rocking this like samurai man bun. If you've seen it already, it's so funny. But shout out to Max Strus. I feel like he is such a perfect guy to get healthy right before the playoffs, catch a little bit of fire. They basically have him, Sam Morrell, Dane Wade, Keon Ellis, Jalen Tyson. I mean, these guys they got a lot of depth over there in Cleveland. That's why right now, if I had to take a guess on my Eastern Conference, championship, my Eastern Conference Finals, I'd probably go Cleveland versus Boston. I think I would lean Cleveland and Boston right now as my top 2 teams in the East. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a team like Orlando get hot and beat the Knicks. A team like Toronto get hot. Maybe they could match up well against Cleveland. I'm worried about Detroit if they have to go a little bit of time without Cade. And I've been saying it, the Knicks are good. They'll probably win their round 1 matchup. But after that, I get worried about them. Need to talk about the Atlanta Hawks a little bit because Atlanta is on a streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game win streak for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know if you guys saw, but Jonathan Kuminga hit one of the craziest shots in NBA history the other day. He literally threw the ball, trying to pass it at the end of the game all the way down the court for just a layup, and it went in. 75-foot full court shot went in for Jonathan Kuminga. Crazy. But the guys that I really need to point out that have just been stellar. First off, this starting lineup. How many times do I have to say it with guys like Amin Thompson, Dyson Daniels, these non-shooting guards are better small forward shooting guards than they are point guards. Dyson Daniels was never a point guard. Amin Thompson is never a point guard. But you put them alongside shot creators and CJ McCollum, a good defender in Nickeil Alexander-Walker. That's my MVP of the week, by the way. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has been remarkable. Look at these numbers, guys, out of Naw. I mean, this was a pickup that not a lot of people saw as a big-time pickup. 22 points, 41 points, 20, 18, 29, 24, 23, 15, 16, 17, 20, 14. I mean, he's been on a tear, Nickeil Alexander, as of recently. And when he's spreading the floor like he is, CJ McCollum is such a smart ball handler. He's not a really great ball handler by any means. He's not even a great scorer, but he's a very veteran, high IQ guy. Mixing that with the ceiling of what Jalen Johnson has been doing mixed with Onyeka Okongwu fitting in perfectly as the starting center after they trade away Porzingis, to then their bench unit being Reese Shea, Corey Kispert, Jonathan Kuminga, Nikhil Alexander-Walker running that second unit a lot. Jacques Landau giving them good backup center minutes. Atlanta was, 27 and 31. And now they've won 11 straight games, which gets them up to the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, puts them above Philly. So now they're going to host a play-in tournament game if they stay where they are. Just loved what I've seen out of Atlanta recently. Very, very impressed over there. Milwaukee, there's a lot of drama going on in Milwaukee right now because the Milwaukee Bucks wanted to shut Giannis down for the rest of the season to make sure that he doesn't get injured. And Giannis said no. Giannis said, absolutely not. I'm going to play as long as I am healthy. This clearly came with a little dispute going on between the Milwaukee Bucks organization and Giannis. I don't really know what the point, if you're Milwaukee or Giannis, for getting shut down is. Especially if you're Milwaukee, it's like his value's not changing if he gets really. He's not going to tear his ACL. Knock on wood, right? But Giannis is not really a player that really puts himself in those really tough, big injuries. He tends to have knacky injuries, but not like these big time, tears and stuff. Whereas for the Bucks, I understand why they'd want to do this, right? They want to trade him in the offseason. They don't want to risk that injury happening, and they're already out of the playoffs, so it's like shut him down for the year. But it's Giannis. We know Giannis wants to play basketball when he's healthy. Just let Giannis play basketball when he's healthy. Like, end of conversation. So it's a weird thing. Two-time MVP refused the team's request and wants to play again. I just hope he doesn't injure himself enough to where his value gets too tanked come the offseason, but at the same time, it's just a weird situation going on in Milwaukee. I really wish he wasn't there. I really wish he had gotten traded at the deadline. I thought he was going to, and then it's like, now we're just having these lingering stuff where now the front office is disagreeing with him. He's probably going to get traded, but he wants to keep playing. It's like, I don't know. It's a weird situation going on over there. And also, Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball has just been so fun to watch over the past couple weeks. 30 points, 13 assists, 17 and 4, 30 and 5, 14, 22, 21, 18, 15. He's been so fun to watch. The Charlotte Hornets have been winning a couple games as of recent, and it's really because of their big three, LaMelo, Khan, and B. Mills. Looking out west, you got like the Thunder absolutely thriving right now, staying atop the Western Conference, but the biggest thing with them is, how about how good Jared McCain has been, man? How about how good Jared McCain has been since getting traded from the 76ers? If you remember, Daryl Morey sold high on a 22-year-old guard that showed promise when he was with Philly. Pathetic trade for the 76ers because look at this, like 5 for 9 from 3 in the win against Brooklyn. 5 for 9 from 3 in the win against Minnesota. 3 for 5 from 3 in the win against Denver. 50% from 3 in the win against Golden State. 4 for 9 against Chicago. Like, he's getting out there, he's getting his shots up, he moves in the offense, he fits that Isaiah Joe role pretty perfectly, gives him another offensive creator. He's good pick and roll. He's smart with the ball. He's a great catch and shoot shooter, which is all you can ask for if you're a championship contending team. What a great trade by the Oklahoma City Thunder to secure Jared McCain for the next future of their team. San Antonio, another team we got to talk about because a guy in De'Aaron Fox has been picking up his play as of recent as we get closer to the playoffs. 29 points, 19, 20, 25, 27, 17, 18, 15 assists. Very little amounts of turnovers, very high percentage looks. I've loved what I've seen out of the De'Aaron Fox and Wemby back and forth two-man game. I've been really up and down on the Spurs, and I really don't know how to feel about them come a 7-game series. Like, for example, I could even see like a team like the Clippers, if they make the 7th seed, giving them a good run for their money in the first round. But then I think it becomes very matchup-based when I look at this Western Conference. Like the Lakers, next up on my talking teams because they're on a big win streak, and not only a win streak, they've beaten a lot of good teams. Knicks, Timberwolves, Nuggets, Rockets. These are playoff teams that we expect the Lakers to kind of be battling with, but not really win all of them. They've won a lot of these games recently. Luka Doncic has just been, MVP caliber Luka Doncic. I can't believe he's not more in the top 3 MVP talks. 33 points, 8 rebounds, 8.5 assists, a steal and a half a game, actually leading the Lakers in steals per game. If you watch a Lakers game, you can see why they're having this win streak because he hit some of the most ridiculous end of shot clock shots I've ever seen taken, known to man. LeBron James has really stepped up his play as of recent. Who would have expected that? 30 points, 5 rebounds, 18, 5 and 5, 17, 6 and 5, 18, 7 and 7. 21, 7, and 7. I mean, 41-year-old LeBron James turning 42 next season. It's just like a god. It's like watching a god go out there just at the end of his time playing basketball. It's so impressive. Austin Reeves has played really well. Finally, DeAndre Ayton looked himself in the mirror and said, I'm not who I once was, and I need to be what the team needs me to be. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 and 11 with a block, 9 and 9, 23 and 10, 14 and 12. DeAndre Ayton finally making himself out to be an impact winning player as opposed to just going to go out there and play his own game. Very impressed with the Lakers throughout this stretch. Specifically, I really was watching their games against Houston to see how they matched up against that bigger, defensive-minded, rebounding-minded team. The shot creation, perimeter skill that the Lakers have is just way too much for a team like Houston. And Houston, unless they get into a rhythm, Houston really can't keep up with a team like the Lakers. We talked about Minnesota. They're going to need a couple guys to step up in the midst of Anthony Edwards being out, but that's why you trade for a guy like Ayo Dosunmu. That's why you have Naz Reid off the bench. That's why you have Bones Highland as your backup point guard to bring that scoring while Anthony Edwards misses some time. But I am a little bit more worried about Minnesota. If you guys remember, like maybe a month ago, less than a month ago, I was talking about Minnesota in that same tier with like San Antonio and Denver. I think I'd have them a definite tier below. Denver's another team that we have to talk about. They've been losing a couple weird games. Like they lost to the Thunder, they got killed by the Knicks. They lost to the Grizzlies, they lost to the Lakers, but then they beat like the Sixers, they beat the Spurs, they beat the Rockets. This is a team I very much look at as a matchup-based team come playoffs. Right now they are sitting at the 6th seed, so they'd go play the Lakers. I actually don't think that's a great matchup for them. I don't think they have the perimeter defense, and neither the Lakers don't have the interior defense, so it basically turns into Luka versus Jokic. Then, LeBron versus Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray versus Austin Reeves, and it turns into very much like who wins with the others. I'd probably take Denver in that series, but even then, I don't think they want to have a round 1 of Luka versus Jokic. Like neither one of those teams moving on to round 2 would want to know that they have to go through that through round 1. Minnesota, Houston. I'm becoming lower and lower on Houston the more I watch them. They are just not showing great basketball right now. Sengun has not really been great as of recent. I know he had 27 and 10 yesterday in that loss against the Lakers, but like 10, 2 and 3 after getting injured, 14 and 12, 16 and 6, 17. Like it's not the ceiling of what we thought Alperen Sengun was going to bring this year. And then Amen Thompson, he's looked better offensively in a little stretch. Like he's starting to score a lot more, as you can see. He didn't have a lot of 20-point games in the month of February, but in March he's really started turning it up and getting those 20-point games. The problem is he's still not spreading the court, so it's like they're kind of letting him get to that pull-up mid-range because they know they don't have to defend the 3 on him. And, 0 for 1, 0 for 1, 2 for 3, 0 for 1. It's just not going to cut it, in my opinion, come playoff time. When you look at this Rockets team, I just really worry about their floor spacing and offensive ability to keep up with other teams. Come playoff time, come a full 7-game series. But, they have Kevin Durant. So if they get into a close game and they can keep it close come fourth quarter, Kevin Durant can outperform anyone in a fourth quarter. So that's my take on the Houston Rockets there. Suns, got to give credit to Colin Gillespie, who's just been playing incredible basketball recently. 12 points, 7 assists, 0 turnovers. 12, 9 and 9 with 1 turnover. 24, 5 and 4. 12 and 6 with 1 turnover. 17 and 9 with 1 turnover. 21, 15, 18, 19. Undrafted Villanova product was picked up and kind of taught by Devin Booker how to run an offense. He's looked amazing for Phoenix. I've loved what Phoenix has been doing. Do I think that they're going to make it out of the first round? Absolutely not. But they're going to be a fun team that's going to give the Thunder, the Spurs, a run for their money in 1 or 2 games. But I doubt any of those series goes 5. My Warriors really need to get healthy. Shout out to Porzingis for having his best game as a Warrior against the Wizards the other day. 30 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 2 steals. Funny enough, Porzingis has had a 30-point game as a Warrior, and Brandon Podziemski still has not. But, as a Warriors fan, you guys know I watch every single game of them. Pat Spencer's looked okay. Will Richard has looked really solid other than that one moment where Steve Kerr just went off on him. Guy Santos continues to drop like 17 points every game. I don't know if you saw this. 17, 17, 17, 17, 17, 15, 14, 14, 22, 20, 18. he's kind of exactly what we thought Jonathan Kuminga was going to be in our offense, but yet Kuminga's more of a, let me get my own kind of guy. And Guy Santos plays in the scheme a little bit more, so, I'm happy with the Porzingis pickup. Has he been perfect? No, we haven't even seen him play with Curry. We haven't even seen him play with Jimmy Butler yet. We're not going to this season likely, but just sad watching the Warriors play a lot of basketball because right now we're supposed to be watching a lineup of Curry, Moody, Jimmy, Draymond, and Porzingis with Guy Santos, Podziemski, Pat Spencer, Will Richard, all our Quinton Post off the bench, and yet we have to run basically all those guys as starters because of the injuries we're dealing with. And if you think tanking still isn't happening, look at the Wizards and Pacers. Wizards have lost 13 straight games. Pacers have lost 15 straight games to keep themselves at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Pacers are now the #1 team in the lottery odds. We knew the Pacers were going to be trying to be tanking because of their pick is 1 through 4 protected. But Sacramento stopped winning games, go tank the rest of the season, build around Maxime Reynaud and Nick Clifford. But you're seeing teams like Memphis really tanking. I know they won yesterday against the Nuggets, but look at before that. They lost a lot of games because Memphis trying to just bolster their draft capital after making all their rebuilding moves at the deadline, trading Bane, trading Jaren Jackson. But that's kind of where we're at right now in terms of NBA basketball and where we're heading into the playoffs. Good games that were happening yesterday. I didn't watch a lot of basketball. I watched a lot of basketball over the weekend. For example, I watched this Warriors-Knicks game. Warriors, I can't believe you blew this one. We should have had that one easy. I watched a lot of this Mavericks-Cavs. They had a little back and forth. They had back-to-back games. I love watching Cooper Flag play. When Najee Marshall's on, this offense looks so fun. When the forwards are clicking, everything looks really fun with the Mavericks, but when they're not, it's really bad, really rough basketball. Their guards and center play is just not where you want it to be. And you guys know how I feel about Cleveland after coming back. I believe Cleveland is the second best team in the Eastern Conference. Sixers playing okay basketball even amidst all the injuries. Embiid's been injured, Maxi's been injured, Edgecombe's been in and out, Quentin Grimes has been having to play a lot of basketball. It's been kind of weird. Shout out to Cameron Payne. He had one of the craziest stat lines recently, 32-10 with 0 turnovers out of nowhere. That was the same day Bam Adebayo actually broke 83 points, but that's going to be my NBA talk, just going over NBA teams, players that I want to shout out. Shout out to Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's been just amazing over the past couple weeks, and really the entire Atlanta Hawks, jumping to that 8 seed. I saw they won 9 in a row, and they never went up in the standings, but now they're up to 11-game win streak, and now they're starting to jump in the standings a little bit more. They got to get ahead of the Heat, and they are only half a game behind the Orlando Magic, so they might not even be a play-in team if they keep this win streak up. They could be a top 6 seed, which would be awesome for them. And then shout out to the Lakers. Is this a fluke? Funny enough, at the exact same time frame last year, the Lakers, right after that Luka trade, went on a win streak, and then come playoff time, their defense caught back up to them. I kind of feel the same way about the Lakers this year until I see it. But they've got the talent late in games with Luka, LeBron, and Reeves. So, if it's a close game, I'm probably taking the Lakers in most of their series games. So, yeah, that's kind of the NBA talk of the day. Obviously, we're transitioning a lot from NBA to March Madness. As March Madness is starting, shout out to Ohio State coming all the way back down 15 at halftime, and now they're winning by 3. Good for Ohio State. It's going to be a very fun March Madness run. But big injuries to Cade Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, big runs from the Atlanta Hawks, from the Portland Trail Blazers, from the Los Angeles Lakers, from the Thunder at the right time. So can't wait for playoff basketball. That's going to do it for my basketball talk.